silence on. Can all council members come to the well so that we can get started? All council members, if all of you could come to the well.
Here's Conwell, that's 12.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Griffin,
Here.
Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll make the following statement. This meeting of Cleveland City Council is a lawful meeting under section 605.04 of the codified ordinances. No person with purpose to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting shall do any act which obstructs or interferes with the due conduct of such meeting. Members of the public are invited to speak only under the rules set by this council. Disruptions, including but not limited to speaking out of turn and making loud noises and loud utterances, are in violation of the rules and interfere with the due conduct of this lawful meeting. Such disruptions may constitute a misdemeanor and a violation of section 605.04. Anyone who disrupts this lawful meeting in violation of the codified ordinances commits misdemeanors and is subject to prosecution. The following is the first and only warning. If this meeting is disrupted, I will gavel a halt to the proceedings and direct the assembled officers to escort any person participating in the disruption out of the chamber. Once persons participating in the disruption are outside of the chambers, the officers will close the doors and the disruptors will be handled as directed by the Director of Public Safety. The council proceedings will not begin again until those that participated in the disruption have left the chamber and the council doors are closed. Disruptors will not be allowed back in the chamber after the meeting resumes. Again, this is the first and only warning. Madam Clerk, please dispense with the journal.
By Councilmember House Jones, that the reading of the minutes of the last meeting be dispensed with the journal approved, seconded by Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. We'll move to public comment, and I want to make sure that everyone is aware the public commenters that are commenting today are people who actually signed up last week. We know we had weather cancellations last week, so I made the decision to allow anybody who signed up last week, this is their week to have public comment, okay? We'll get back to normal beginning on Wednesday. The first person, I'm gonna ask all council members if you could turn around to acknowledge the speakers and make sure the speakers that you acknowledge your time of 3 minutes. The first speaker is Daryl Houston. He's from Bedford Heights. The topic is city issues. He's not representing anyone and he's not being paid by anyone. Mr. Houston, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I just want to take a moment of silence for the young youth that we've lost already this year. Thank you. I'm going to come down here until the end of February. And after the end of February, I'm going to take a break. There's some constitutional things that's going on down here, and I like to see them addressed. I think there's no one in this room has more skin in the game than me. I spent 16 years wrongfully in prison on a 33 to life sentence. I studied for what I'm here to do. There's no one more superior about what's going on down here in the city of Cleveland than Mr. Houston. He spent 16 years trying to figure out how he got wrongfully imprisoned by the city of Cleveland, okay? I did a great report on each and every last one of y'all. I did that on purpose. I made sure that I met each and every last one of y'all personally, just to see what you guys' temperament was and what you guys were really about down here. And to see some of the things that took place almost 36 years to this day, still taking place in this city, I'm not having it. And Mr. Mayor, if you want to survive, I suggest you do a report card on your cabinet, okay? Because your cabinet is complicit of receiving paychecks but not fulfilling their job duties, sir. Either you're going to deal with them or it's deal with the leader. It's just that simple now, because I think recall is down the street. That's what I think. I think recall is down the street on a few council members. I think recall is right down the street on this mayor, and I'm not going for it not another day in this city. We deserve better. EMS is tired. Cleveland Police is tired. The school system is tired. The residents are tired. And we've lost all black African Americans within the last 30 days. And I'm trying to understand who's concerned about that. Who has compassion about someone losing their kid in this community? All of you guys live in this community. All of you guys go out and eat, and y'all navigate through this entire community. One day, I hope it doesn't happen, but I hope that knock never comes on your door so you can feel the pain of these residents losing their children. One more thing. I've been asking for 24 months now to have a utility pole repaired in front of my business that I'm expected to pay property taxes on. I'm not having it anymore. One more thing. I also took the liberty to study civil servant. You don't have immunity. So anybody sitting here up under a civil servant, be careful, because I know who to go to now about that as well.
Mr.
You're going to do your jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Time. Thank you. All right, next up we have Brenda Bickerstaff. Ms. Bickerstaff is from Ward 9 to talk about Craig Lamont Bickerstaff is the topic, and she's here with Citizens for a Safer Cleveland, but not being paid by anyone. Ms. Bickerstaff, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. Today, my brother got killed by the police. His funeral was today, 25 years ago. I want to share some photos with you. This is his daughter, Kenesha. This year on December the 1st, she wanted to do it by herself, Delonte. She went to his gravesite by herself and sent me the picture. This is Kenesha and Arabia, 2 daughters. 6 grandkids that Craig have never seen. He's never seen his grandkids. Kenny said he wanted to play for the NFL. He plays football. This is a silhouette that someone did for me with the Ohio Families Against Police Brutality in Dayton. I want to shout out to Sabrina Jordan for this. I want to shout out to Darnell Brewer, who's not even my state rep, but guess what? He lobbies down there for police brutality. And you know what's so funny today, Councilwoman House? The consent decree was here when my brother got killed. And we still going through the same thing right now. And look what we're going through in the White House. We got ICE out here going after people, arresting citizens now that are citizens, Mark Griffin, and from the United States. Citizens of the United States, Blaine Griffin. So I wonder, and I'm going to send this shout out to ICE, please don't approach me. Don't approach me. It would not be a good idea. And at the end of the day, I want to thank the council who has supported us on this plight for police reform, because it's well overdue and well needed. So when you go home tonight, think about those 6 grandkids that Craig never met, that he would never see. This is why it's so important for this reform. And you know what I would like council to do? Why don't you put together some legislation So if ICE try to come and bother any of the citizens, they'll be protected. Why don't you do that? That'll be a good idea to do. Because I'm telling you, Mark Griffin and Mayor Bibb, I don't want ICE to touch me. Because guess what? We're going down. We're going down with a fight. One of us may come up, and one of us may not. And that's not a threat, that's a promise. So you have a good day.
Thank you. Next we have Dale Snyder. Dale Snyder is from Shaker Heights. The topic that he would like to discuss is government. Dale is representing Road Gold Inc., and he's not being paid by anyone. Dale, you have the floor.
Hello, Council, Mayor. Back again, it's been a cold one. Man, my condolences. So I was initially going to talk about government, and I'm going to stay on that topic, even though she hit some points that I really wanted to hit. But nonetheless, we are in a position right now where the economy is shifting, and that's on a national stage. We are in what economics call a K-shaped economy, and simply put, that's the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. In a K-shaped economy, there's a dividing line between the rich and the poor, and those arrows moving in their direction. That dividing line is AI. With AI on the horizon, they're saying that there's a limited time. Some say 5 to 10 years, some say even 6 to 8 months, that AI can lock in those particular trajectories in that K-shaped economy. Meaning that if you're not in a position, or whatever position that you're in financially, you'll be locked in that position because of technology, robotics, and all of that, taking over some of the jobs that have been there available to citizens to take care of their families will not be there. And with that ceiling and with that lock-in, if you think we having social anomalies or social infractions and stuff going on with the police and in the city, it's going to escalate because people are going to realize they have been imprisoned economically. Survival mode goes up. So this affects us all. And I'm saying all this to say what? Because we're in local government. Right now, we are in an opportunity zone right now. We're in an opportunity zone, one, because Cleveland is in transition. Mayor, I read your 2025 housing plan, council. I actually like what I read, to my understanding. I actually like the language in it. I actually like who it is targeting. I actually like the segments on homelessness. I like where the heart of the city is in this plan. I would just like to bring attention to, while we are in a position to have the opportunity of waterfront property, that we utilize that to lock in some economic advantages and opportunity to the residents of Cleveland. Because in a K-shaped economy, what is going to be of value more than the dollar that's declining is assets, tangible assets, commodities, real estate, things of that nature. So just bringing attention to that. I have not read the waterfront plan. I will be. And that's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Kimberly Rockmore from Raleigh, North Carolina. Kimberly's here to talk about Tanisha's Law. She's not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. It's Kimberly Rockmore here. Kimberly Rockmore going once. Kimberly Rockmore going twice. Kimberly Rockmore is not here. Next, we have Josiah Quarles from Shaker Heights. He's here to talk about Tanisha's Law. He's representing Northeast Ohio Coalition for the Homeless, and he's not being paid by anyone.
Good afternoon, council, mayor, administration, residents. I'm here to celebrate today what I hope will be this body's passage of Tanisha's Law. Not only honoring Tanisha, her memory, and her family, but honoring the work of hundreds of people who have worked to get it to this point, as well as hundreds of other people, including Malik Rockmore, who was a victim of police violence during a mental health crisis. I think what we're seeing here is a testimony of what we can do together. It is a testimony to what is possible. I heard many people say that this was not possible. We have a way we do things. This ain't gonna work. We don't need that. Or just confusing about what it is and responding without the curiosity that is necessary for us to find mutual understanding. I want to thank a few people. This journey began for me in 2020, and we mistakenly got identified as a cohort that could attend a sprint training on the model. Somebody thought we were the city of Cleveland. We were not the city of Cleveland. But we did scurry around and coalesce enough stakeholders within the space that it felt like, yeah, we were a cohort. And Councilwoman Santana was gracious enough to lend her signature that kind of got us over that finish line. And from that experience, folks gained that shared understanding to be able to move forward in community and with community towards pushing this to people of power that were in decision-making positions. I'd like to thank everyone who took the time to read, to listen, and is now in a position to act. We can solve the problems that face us every day, but it takes all of us to do it. We may not see eye to eye on everything, but if we hold humanity center in all of the work that we do, if we hold our residents and their well-being at the center of everything we do, and we don't look for the reasons why we cannot do something, but how we can, then we'll continue to produce results like this today. So thank you all for your time. I'd also like to thank Aisha Bell Hardaway, who cannot be here for another obligation, as well as the law students who helped craft this legislation, and anyone, there's too many people to name, who had any part of leaning on the Adams board, of coming here, giving public comment, of hosting teach-ins around the city. That work doesn't stop. There's a long way to go to on-ramp this so the community understands the resources being presented and that we have the capacity to actually implement it the way it deserves to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Terry Wong from Ward 8 here to talk about pay to park, pay to be watched. And she is not representing anyone, and she is not being paid by anyone.
Good evening. Before I get into the parking situation, the community should know that work authorizations for many Haitians, Ukrainians, and others are imminently expiring, and ICE is already active in Ohio. In mid-December, federal authorities reported hundreds of arrests in Columbus and across Ohio during what it called Operation Buckeye. 2 weeks ago, I spoke at City Council and asked for a public commitment from our police forces and city government to protect residents by simply enforcing the law when it is broken by ICE. Instead, the Cleveland Division of Police claimed that they had not seen evidence of ICE activity in Cleveland. I think it's fair for the public to ask why we keep re-electing leaders and paying salaries when people fail to act honestly or responsibly, when other people's lives and safety are on the line. Now, wouldn't it be better and wonderful if we lived in a Cleveland that was better? A Cleveland where we could, for example, park for free downtown and in Ohio City. Here's the thing, that Cleveland is actually this Cleveland. Let me explain why. Mayor Bibb made the decision to spend $5 million converting our old parking meters into Park Mobile. But Cleveland only brings in about $1 million from its meters a year. This means that decision created a 5-year debt, paid for by taxpayer money without public consent. And we all know what happens to apps and softwares in 5 years. They become outdated, require upgrades, and get replaced. What City Hall really did was lock the city into years of higher costs and expanded enforcement just to pay off technology that will not last. Which leads to the obvious conclusion, and I hope you guys see this. The city could have instead offered free parking downtown in Ohio City for 5 years and ended up in the same fiscal position. Right? And we might have been in a better one because economic, research consistently shows that pedestrian activity, not punitive pricing, drives business growth. Looking at my own Park Mobile history, I spent about $240 just a year just to park downtown, not for events or long stays, but to run errands and visit friends. Imagine if that money had gone directly to local businesses instead. And add to that frustration how after the recent snowstorm, many parking spaces sat unusable because they were never cleared. Is this really a parking supply problem that you're trying to solve? Or is it a planning problem and ultimately a governance and accountability problem? And this is the real cost. Not just $5 million, but a city that makes it harder, not easier, for people to want to be here. And I would recommend at this point, if you want to save downtown's activity, that you
Time.
offer free parking,
Thank you.
since it wouldn't cost any more.
Thank you.
you.
Next, we have Paige Zotowski. Paige is from Brunswick. Paige is here to talk about Venezuela. The topic she would like to talk about is Venezuela and the anti-ICE resolution. And Paige represents About Face Veterans Against the War, Cleveland Liberation Center, and not being paid by anyone. Paige, you have the floor.
Good evening, members of the council. Before I begin addressing my intended comments, I want to say that it is wonderful to hear that Tanisha's law is being brought forward for a vote, and I applaud and commend all of the hard work from the community that it took to make that happen. My name is Paige Zoltowski. I'm a longtime resident of Northeast Ohio, a student of history at CSU, a volunteer at the Cleveland Liberation Center, and an anti-war, anti-imperialist veteran activist with About Face Veterans Against the War. I joined the Air Force at 19 years old, and I trained in the intelligence community to be an airborne cryptologic language analyst, and the language I studied was Spanish, meaning that my mission focus was the so-called war on drugs and human trafficking, the same war this administration claims it's fighting by blowing up boats in the Caribbean and violating the sovereignty of Venezuela, bombing them and kidnapping their president, all of which are classified as war crimes. All you have to do is watch those videos being released by the Department of War to understand that they're lying to us. Pete Hegseth asserts they are targeting narco-terrorists who are actively transporting drugs to the United States, but it would be extremely inefficient for these individuals to somehow be trafficking drugs across an entire ocean in a tiny boat filled with people. And even if they were transporting drugs with the intent of trafficking them, it would still be considered a war crime to fire upon them because they're not actively engaged in warfare. When it comes to assessing claims of narco-terrorism in relation to Venezuela and their president, Nicolas Maduro, Venezuela is not a drug production country, and the assertion that Maduro is the head of the so-called Cartel de Soles is entirely unfounded. These operations are costly to U.S. taxpayers, and U.S. aggression like this leads to instability in the region, resulting in increased immigration to the United States, something that this administration also claims to be fighting by unleashing masked armed thugs into our streets known as ICE, with the intent to kidnap our Black, brown, and immigrant neighbors. Their operations resulted in 32 deaths last year and 9 deaths alone in January of this year, including Keith Porter, Renee Good, and Alex Preddy. They have been documented ignoring federal judges' orders, kidnapping U.S. citizens, legal residents, asylum seekers, refugees alike, entering private properties without warrants, using chemical weapons and less lethal rounds, and as we all know, they are not indifferent to shooting people. The headlines speak of a 6-month-old baby whose heart stopped because ICE threw tear gas into their parents' car, of child-led revolts in detention centers, of women being raped by ICE agents in exchange for promises to see their children, of cars being left abandoned in the streets with bullet holes in them. On Friday, we saw massive mobilizations and calls for a national general strike in response to these atrocities committed by ICE, of which Cleveland proudly made
Time.
clear that ICE is not and will not
Time.
be welcome
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please share communications.
File, excuse me, file number 138, 2026, oath of office for Nicole Carlton, Civil Service Commission. File number 144, 2026, oath of office for Sherry Ullery, Interim Chief of Youth and Family Success. File number 147, 2026, oath of office for Shalana Williams, Executive Director, Community Police Commission. File number 171, 2026, oath of office for Ryan Puente, Chief of Staff to the Mayor. File number 172, 2026, oath of office for Jessica Trevisano, Deputy Chief of Staff and Chief Strategy Officer. File number 173, 2026, oath of office for Michael Culp, Chief of Government Affairs Officer. File number 174, 2026, oath of office for Jason Schramm, Interim Commander, Bureau of Communications and Property Control. From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, file number 148, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 6632 St. Clair Avenue, Ward 8. File number 149, 2026, regarding a transfer of license application at 10300 Union Avenue, Ward 3. File number 152, 2026, regarding a new license application at 6501 Dennison Avenue, Ward 11. File number 154, 2026, regarding a new license application at 3140 West 25th Street, Ward 14. File number 155, 2026, regarding a new license application at 756 and a half East 200th Street, Ward 10. File number 160, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 11633 Lorraine Avenue, Ward 12. File number 162, 2026, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 13220 Shaker Square, Ward 3.
Thank you. Are there any condolence resolutions?
Resolutions of condolence by Councilmember Casey for Fannie Ella Holloway, by Councilmember House Jones for Dolores Day Webster, by Councilmember Griffin for Mamie Jarrett Stevens, by Councilmember Gray for Isaac Smith, by Councilmember Jones for Burton I. Saltzman, by Councilmember Conwell for Milton A. Ward Sr., by Councilmember Griffin for Dana Cheryl Fan Powell, by Councilmember Jones for Cora Lee Hill McGee, by Councilmember Bishop for James Herbert Mayo, by Councilmember House Jones for Joseph Hocevar, by Councilmember Griffin for Mildred Lee Young, by Councilmember Griffin for Renita Randall Pride, by Councilmember Slythe for John O'Boyle, by Councilmember Davis for Thomas David Flindero, by Councilmember Gray for Mary Ruth Ferguson, by Councilmember Starr for Roger Scotty Payne.
Thank you. Are there any other condolence resolutions? Seeing no other condolence Austin Davis, Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Council President. Could we please hold out a number for Alex Preddy?
Please do.
So noted.
So move. Councilman Slythe.
Add me to that one if it's okay. And also for Robert O'Malley.
Duly noted. Are there any other condolences? Councilman Michael Polensky. All right, any other condolences? Council members, please rise for a moment of silence. Thank you. We recognize any resolutions.
Resolutions of congratulations by Councilmember Griffin for Jay Turakia, by Councilmember Griffin for Felton Thomas Jr., by Councilmember Griffin for Barbara Rabinowitz, by Councilmember House Jones for Wallace Coleman, by Councilmember Griffin for Breakthrough School Ribbon Cutting, by Councilmember Griffin for Brian E. Siggers, by Councilmember Slythe for Thomas J. Macklin, UIC honoree, by Councilmember Slythe for Midge Gannon, UIC honoree, by Councilmember Starr for Christopher Slobby Bradley, by Councilmember Slythe for Donna Leary, co-chair, UIC honoree, by Councilmember Slythe for Bob Crawford, UIC honoree, by Councilmember Slythe for Mayor Manning, UIC honoree. Resolutions of recognition by Councilmember Griffin for Sean Richardson, by Councilmember Griffin for Kimberly Rodriguez Arroyo, by Councilmember Griffin for Anthony Hubbard Jr., BEL honoree, by Councilmember Griffin for Madison Willoughby, BEL honoree, by Councilmember Griffin for Kaylee Boyd, BEL honoree, by Councilmember Griffin for Ania Thomas, BEL honoree, by Councilmember Griffin for DeMarcus Taylor, BEL honoree, by Councilmember Griffin for Bahati Bertha, BEL honoree, by Councilmember Griffin for Mariah Moss, BEL honoree, by Councilmember Griffin for Leela Crosby, BEL honoree, by Councilmember Griffin for Desiree Neal, BEL honoree.
Thank you. Councilman Starr.
Ordinance number 151 should be a condolence, not a congratulation.
So noted.
All right. Any other recognition of resolutions? All right. We'll move to, there are no presentations. No one has made me aware of any presentations. Therefore, Madam Clerk, we'll move to first reading emergency ordinances referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 89, 2026, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Parks and Recreation to enter into one or more agreements with Urban Bridges for the exchange of easements, authorizing Director to execute deeds of easement, granting to Urban Bridges certain utility easement rights on city-owned property, declaring the easement rights not needed for the city's public use, and authorizing Director to accept from Urban Bridges certain easement rights needed for mutual rights of entry and exiting access. Ordinance 90, 2026, by Council Members Polensek, Bishop, Santana, and Griffin, by departmental request, giving consent of the City of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio to repair and resurface South Waterloo Road from East 140th to East 152nd, accepting gifts and grants, acquiring, accepting, and recording necessary rights of way, authorizing agreements and causing payment to the state for the city's share of the improvement. Ordinance 91, 2026, by Council Members Gray, Bishop, Santana, and Griffin, by departmental request, giving consent of the City of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio to construct the improvement of resurfacing Van Aken Boulevard, accepting gifts and grants, acquiring, accepting, and recording necessary rights of way, authorizing agreements and causing payment to the state for the city's share of the improvement. Ordinance 92, 2026, by Council Members Davis, Bishop, and Santana, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Capital Projects to issue a permit to 4601 Lorraine LLC to encroach into the public right-of-way of Lorraine Court by installing, using, and maintaining 2 sets of doors opening into the public right-of-way. Ordinance 93, 2026, by Council Members Slife and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing Director of Port Control to exercise the first option to renew a contract with Downtown Cleveland Alliance to maintain, manage, secure, and promote city-owned properties at North Coast Harbor and to fulfill the common area maintenance agreement with the stakeholders of North Coast Harbor. Ordinance 94, 2026, by Council Members Slife and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control to exercise the first option to renew a contract with Air Force One, Inc., to provide for the labor, equipment, and materials necessary to maintain, repair, test, inspect, or enhance heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems for the Department of Port Control. Ordinance 95, 2026, by Councilmember Polensek, designating the Beachland Ballroom and Tavern as a Cleveland landmark. Ordinance 96, 2026, by Councilmember Starr, designating the Wellman Seaver Morgan Company building as a Cleveland landmark. Ordinance 97, 2026, by Councilmembers Santana and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Building and Housing to enter into one or more agreements with Cuyahoga County Land Reutilization Corporation to allow the city to accept one or more payments as reimbursement to the city for conducting environmental surveys, conducting asbestos abatement, demolition of eligible structures, and final site grading under the Building Demolition and Site Revitalization Program. Ordinance 98, 2026, by Council Members Davis, Santana, and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Development to enter into a tax increment financing agreement with Westinghouse Breakwater Properties or its designee and/or another designee to assist the financing of the Westinghouse redevelopment project to be located at 1200 West 58th Street, to provide for payments to the Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and to declare certain improvements to real property to be a public purpose. Ordinance 103, 2026, by Council Members Conwell and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Health to apply for and accept one or more grants from Cuyahoga County Invest in Children Program and First Year Cleveland to conduct Moms First project services under the Invest in Children Partnership and First Year Cleveland Partnership programs, and authorizing the Director to enter into one or more contracts with various agencies, entities, or individuals to implement the grants. Ordinance 104, 2026, by Council Members Davis, Santana, and Griffin, by departmental request, approving the addition of property located at 1200 West 58th Street to Northeast Ohio Advanced Energy District, accepting and approving a petition and plan from a property owner in the district proposing a special energy improvement project, declaring it necessary to conduct this special improvement project, providing for the assessment of the cost of such special improvement project, authorizing the Director of Development to enter into an energy project cooperative agreement and special assessment agreement to implement the project, and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 105, 2026, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to enter into one or more various written standard and requirement contracts and for professional services with Digital Intelligence, Inc., Celebrite Inc., Magnet Forensics, LLC, for the purchase of various types of digital forensic equipment and services for related professional services, including the acquisition of licenses if needed for the Digital Forensics Unit for the Division of Police, Department of Public Safety, for a term of 1 year with 2 one-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Public Safety. Ordinance 109, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance to pay as moral claims the sums opposite the names of the claimants. Ordinance 117, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin, by departmental request, to make appropriations and provide current expenses for the daily operation of all municipal departments of the City of Cleveland for the fiscal year January 1, 2026 to December 31st, 2026. Ordinance 119, 2026, by Council Members Conwell and Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Health to apply for and accept a grant from Share Our Strength to conduct the Food Access Navigators Program under Cultivating Cleveland's Next Generation Project, and authorizing one or more contracts with East 66th Street Services, Inc., and Elements of Internal Movement Eternal Pull, Inc., to implement the grant. Ordinance 122, 2026, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin, by departmental request, giving consent of the City of Cleveland to the Director of Transportation of the State of Ohio to construct the CUY Cleveland Downtown Connector Trail 1 project, accepting gifts and grants, acquiring, accepting, and recording necessary rights of way, authorizing an agreement with Village of Newburgh Heights, and authorizing other agreements, and causing payment to the state for the city's share of the improvement. Ordinance 131, 2026, by Councilmember Griffin, by departmental request, authorizing declarations of official intent under U.S. Treasury regulations with respect to reimbursements from note and bond proceeds of temporary advances made for payments prior to the issuance and related matters.
Thank you. First reading, emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 74, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Cleveland Cocoa Run, February 7th, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 75, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for Cleveland St. Patrick's Day Run on March 16, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 76, 2026 by Councilmember House Jones, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for Outrun Ovarian Cancer 5K event on August 1st, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 77, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for Westside Catholic Center Pancake Run event on June 6, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 78, 2026 by Councilmember House Jones, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the annual Transplant House 5K event on June 14, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 79, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Writers in Residence 5K on April 11, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 80, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Fieldhouse Cancer Foundation 5K Run and 1 Mile Walk on May 31st, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 81, 2026 by Councilmember Starr, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Inside the Park Home Run, June 21st, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 82, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Riders in Passages 5K on June 13, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 83, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Run Her Society 5K Run and 1 Mile Walk on April 4th, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 84, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Towpath 1010 on June 12th, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 86, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Treat Yourself 5K on April 19, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 87, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Walk to End Colon Cancer on August 23, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 88, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Will Run for Tacos 5K event on May 2nd, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 99, 2026 by Councilmember Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Parrot Head Run on July 18, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 100, 2026 by Councilmembers House Jones and Davis, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the annual Cleveland Turkey Trot on November 26, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 101, 2026 by Councilmember Griffin, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the UCP of Greater Cleveland 5K on May 3, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 106, 2026 by Councilmembers Starr and House Jones, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Chili Bowl Classic 5K on February 21st, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 108, 2026 by Councilmembers Davis and House Jones, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the Diversity Center's Walk, Rock, and Run event on May 9th, 2026, managed by Hermes Sports and Events. Ordinance 110, 2026 by Councilmember Griffin, to supplement the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio by amending Section 173.071 as amended related to reimbursement of expenses for members of council. Ordinance 111, 2026 by council members Bishop, Jones, Gray, Conwell, and Santana, authorizing the Director of Department of Aging to enter into agreement with Community Housing Solutions for the City Council Home Repair Project, providing essential home repair activities, increasing independence and safe housing through the use of wards 1, 2, 4, 9, and 14 neighborhood equity funds as such wards existed on December 10th, 2025. Ordinance 112, 2026 by Councilmember Conwell, authorizing the Director of Department of Community Development to enter into agreement with Famicos Foundation for the public purpose of health, wellness, and general welfare by providing food cards to eligible City of Cleveland residents through the use of wards 7, 8, 9, and 10 casino revenue funds as such wards existed on November 15th, 2025. Ordinance 113, 2026 by Councilmember Jones, authorizing the Director of Department of Public Safety to enter into agreement with New Point Community Development Corporations for the community safety workshops, providing residents with resources enhancing personal and public safety through the use of Ward 1 casino revenue funds. Ordinance 118, 2026 by Councilmembers Bishop and Gray to amend Section 2 of Ordinance 1372, 2025, relating to the agreement with New Point Community Development Corporation for the food distribution program.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember House Jones, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Davis.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 14 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 14 yeas.
Thank you. First reading emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 85, 2026 by Councilmember Casey, objecting to a new C1 liquor permit at 3890 West 140th Street. Resolution 107, 2026 by Councilmember Casey, condemning First Energy's request to the PUCO to allow it more time to restore electricity after an outage and to increase the number of permissible outages per year, calling upon PUCO to reject First Energy's request and supporting demands for the PUCO to launch a full investigation into First Energy's persistent power outages affecting City of Cleveland and other cities in Northeast Ohio. Resolution 114, 2026 by Councilmembers Conwell, Shaw, and Starr, strongly opposing Ohio ICE legislation, House Bills 2642, 281, Senate Bill 172, which generally requires state and local agencies, municipalities, and hospitals to cooperate in all ICE-related immigration enforcement, even if contrary to established federal or Ohio law, and penalizes those institutions by eliminating funding if they do not comply. Resolution 115, 2026 by Councilmember Polensek, objecting to a new C1 liquor permit to 756 and a half East 200th Street. Resolution 116, 2026 by Councilmember Griffin, withdrawing objection to liquor agency contract located at 3232 East 93rd Street and repealing Resolution 1556, 2025.
Madam Clerk, may I be added to, I believe it's 114, that is the ICE one with Councilman Starr, Conwell, and Shaw. Excuse me? I can't understand. Harsh, Chris Harsh, or Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones? Councilwoman House Jones. 114?
Yes.
Okay, anyone else want to be added to 114? Any Anybody who would not like to be added to 114? Okay, so the only one who does not want to be added is the council representative for Ward 10. Everyone else would like to be added.
So noted.
Okay? Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember House Jones, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Davis.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 14 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 14 yeas.
Thank you. We'll now move to second reading emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 1198, 2024, as amended by Council Members House Jones, Slife, Moore, Polensek, Starr, Conwell, Hudson, Jones, Shaw, Griffin, Santana, and Casey, to supplement the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio by enacting new chapter 147 relating to creation of the Department of Community Crisis Response. Ordinance 1541, 2025, as amended by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing Director of Capital Projects to enter into an amendment to a lease with Flats East Management, LLC, and the designee for Flats East Development, LLC, to authorize charging boat docking reservation fees. Ordinance 25, 2026, as amended by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance on behalf of Cleveland Municipal Clerk of Courts to apply for and accept a grant from State Justice Institute to conduct the continuity of operations plan, and authorizing the director to enter into one or more contracts with National Center for State Courts to establish and execute the plan. Ordinance 26, 2026, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the directors of public safety or law to apply for and accept grants from Cuyahoga County Public Safety and Justice Services for fiscal year 25 Stop Violence Against Women Act program for a sexual assault advocate and for the law enforcement and prosecution components of the Cleveland Domestic Violence Program, and authorizing one or more contracts with Cleveland Rape Crisis Center and other entities to implement the grant. Ordinance 33, 2026, as amended by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of residential carts, street receptacles, and compactors for the Division of Waste Collection and Disposal, Department of Public Works, for a period up to 3 years.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember House Jones, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Davis.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 14 yeas.
Thank you. Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Davis, Gray, Harsh, House Jones, Hudson, Jones, Casey, Polensek, Santana, Shaw, Slife, Starr. 14 yeas.
Thank you. We'll now move to any introductions. Any introductions? Any introductions? Councilwoman, did you want to wait? Okay. Any other introductions? Seeing no introductions, any announcements? Any announcements? Seeing no announcements, we'll now move to miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. Councilman Charles Slife and Councilwoman Stephanie House-Jones.
Thank you, and this is sort of at the intersection of announcements and miscellaneous, so thank you. I first of all, and without stealing any thunder, I really want to congratulate Councilwoman House-Jones. Obviously, there's been a lot of support within the body for Tanisha's law, but we wouldn't be at this point if it weren't for her advocacy, so I want to give you the credit that you're owed, and thank you for what you've done for our community. So, Two weeks ago in the Transportation and Mobility Committee meeting, we had our first of 4 hearings on Burke, the proposed closure of it, and a series of meetings talking about the ins and outs of all of that. And I want to begin by thanking the mayor and his administration. I think that our first meeting was incredibly productive. I think that this body learned a lot. I've heard from people in the community who are really appreciative of our time to kind of unpack this issue. I think that this is a case of City Hall working together and learning alongside each other. And we will be having our second of 4 meetings this week, focusing more on some of the budgetary aspects of how Burke currently operates as an aspect within an enterprise fund, how Burke could exist within the city budget if it were not an enterprise fund, if it were not an airport. It's technical stuff, but I think that it's really important, and I'm hoping that members of the committee and whoever else is interested would be willing to come along, because when, I think it was Mr. Snyder, if he's still here, during his public comments said that if there's a way to make things like the lakefront be beneficial to residents across all parts of the city of Cleveland, that is really my goal in anything we try to do in this building. And I think the same, at risk of speaking for the mayor and his administration, I think that that's their goal too. And this process is allowing us to understand the options in front of us to make an educated decision. But there are people who, it seems, are comfortable with decisions being made in this building not benefiting people across the entirety of the city. And we can talk about it more at length later, but the editor of the Plain Dealer said Cleveland is funded by income taxes paid largely by people that don't live there, so they, being we, should serve the region because the region pays for it. That's an interesting perspective. We can talk about how people selectively define regionalism at some other point. We can actually talk about how of the 59, I believe, municipalities in Cuyahoga County, we have the second highest percentage of people who work in this municipality that also live in this municipality. But that's a conversation for a different day. But the point being that there are people who would be very happy with the decisions being made in this building being made to the benefit of people that we do not serve. So this meeting on Wednesday is going to allow all of us to understand how Burke exists within the budget, why it is currently not breaking even in its operations, and if Burke were to close, what the ramifications would be to the general fund, and how any proposed use beyond that would need to make sure that it is being a net benefit to the city's budget so that we can have a successful lakefront and a successful citywide future. So thank you. We're looking forward to it. It'll be Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Thank you, Councilman, and thank you for putting that together. I thought it was very informative and well needed. Thank you so much. Councilwoman House Jones.
Okay. All right. So first and foremost, I have a lot of thank yous. And if you are in the building, I would like for you to stand while I go through the thank yous. First and foremost, Mr. Michael Anderson and family, for your advocacy, for your steadfast, your ever-enduring patience, your love of making sure tragedy was turned into something that we can support Clevelanders in love and care. Thank you. Professor Aisha Bill Hardaway, she is a brilliant mind. She always centered the Anderson family, and she held Mr. Anderson, just the Anderson family, down to the students at Case Western Reserve University Law School. Thank you for your willingness to partner with Mr. Anderson and family. To my partners in council, Charles Life, a former member, Rebecca Morrow, and to the members of Cleveland City Council for voting yes, we appreciate you. To Bree Easterlin of Policy Matters, just for your policy insight. Pete Van Leer, he has been the organizer of organizers, always sending out the emails. Josiah Quarles for responding with empathy, access, and community healing, who started this way before I did. Mike Jones with NEOC, who, again, centering our unhoused individuals. Angela CC's, who also did research from like national models. I want to thank Local Progress, who accepted us into the National Community Responder Cohort. Frontline and the Adams Board for demonstrating that care can actually happen in Cleveland. So those are like my roundtables. And oh yeah, Stephanie Ash. Now I forgot about Stephanie Ash. Stephanie Ash and members of the Northeast Ohio Association of Social Workers, Region 3. Thank you all for continuing to share just the value of social workers and the expertise that they bring to this. Now for just our general supporters that continue to lift us up. I already mentioned them, but I want to mention them again. Northeast Ohio Coalition for the Homeless, ACLU of Ohio, the NAACP Cleveland branch, a Renounce Denounce Gang Intervention Program, the Cuyahoga County Jail Coalition, Ohio Families Unite for Political Action and Change, NAMI Greater Cleveland, Black Lives Matter Cleveland, the Angelo Miller Foundation, Citizens for a Safer Cleveland, Building Freedom Ohio, Cleveland Mediation Center, the Academy of Medicine of Cleveland and Northern Ohio, Case Western Reserve University again, the Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender Community Center for Greater Cleveland, CARE Ohio, Resource Cleveland, and Cleveland Power Alliance. That's a group of people. And then also, literally hundreds of people who sent emails, DMs, all of them. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. I just want to say thank you. I'm very, very grateful. There was a point, and then as we're getting to pass the legislation, it's on my paper, I want to thank the administration, to Mayor Bibb, Director Drummond, and Commissioner Orlando Wheeler. Many times we're in this work and we talk about how council, we pass the legislation and then we put it over to the administration. This weekend, I was reminded that while we may be passing it and you are the care stewards, understanding we are not separated. You have a team, you have a village of people here in Cleveland who are going to be your partners to ensure we get this right. Okay? You are not alone. We have experts all around, and we just know we got work to do because Cleveland deserves it. So thank you for going on this journey with us. A final thank you that I want to do, and I've never had a talk with her, but it is Miss Mavion Green. This is Tanisha's daughter, and I have someone very close who just shared how the death of her mother, Tanisha, really destroyed her. And I don't know the pain that you are experiencing, that you and your family, but for a daughter to lose her mother. And that was the one thing that was shared with me about how much Tanisha loved. She loved her daughter. She loved her daughter, and she showed up for her daughter, and she ensured that her daughter was engaged in life. And because of that tragedy that happened on November 12th of 2014, it changed the trajectory of Mavion's life. And she is a young woman right now. But I just want to let her know that your mother is not forgotten. And the tragedy that you experienced and that of your family, we are now going to ensure that no other person in Cleveland experiences what your mother, you and your family did. And so just thank you all. Thank you all so much.
And Councilwoman, we'll be remiss if we didn't thank you. You really championed this. I think Councilman Casey said it great earlier, that whenever you decide to hit the lottery and move to Florida, or whenever you decide to leave council, this will be a legacy policy that you champion. So really want to thank you as well. So let's give Councilwoman a round of applause. I also want Mr. Anderson, if he could please stand up again. You know, a lot of times in my previous life, I used to have to go to the scenes when some of these happened, and that entire family was devastated. I actually had to show up that night, and you know, the mom, I try to, you know, I'm not as emotional as most other folks, but I will say that thank you to your mother. And I know she's not able to be here to see this moment, but thank you to your mother. I really think that her heart was broken through this process, and the fact that you kept up the legacy, Mr. Anderson and your family, deserves a round of applause. So thank you so much. Thank you. Next up, I have Councilman Conwell, or is it Polisic? Conwell? Councilman Conwell? Can we turn this mic on, please? And you just need to touch it. All you got, there it is, right there. Just touch it. Like you're giving a fingerprint. Help him out, Mike. Just put your finger there. Just put your finger there. Boom, there. Just touch it. There it is, right there.
There it is. I just want to, I love seeing a beautiful work come together. Council Lady, I sit back and watched you, and you were going for this with a passion and really, really working to push it. And it really, I want to thank you for doing that. And I really admire you doing that. And I love to see policy. That's our main job as a council person, really, is to write policy and bring home money. Those are the two things. And when I saw you, you were going with that with a passion. And that really warmed my heart. So I thank you very, very much, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. We now have Councilman Tanmay Shah. Councilman Shah.
Good evening.
Good job,
I just stand to make two quick points, and I want to start off with just recognizing the tenacity and the perseverance, again, of the Anderson family, and just making sure that we actually had accountability. And the first point that I'm going to make actually relates to that of accountability, and it starts with accepting when we've made a mistake. And I just want to recognize in the initial language for Tanisha's law, we recognize that she would have been alive today with these policies in place, and we removed this section. I just want to recognize that it's important for us to accept responsibility. That is how we can move forward and do better. The second point I want to just talk about briefly is, I know we had a lot of stakeholders and community at the table that helped push this forward, and we had different ideas for what this could look like. And we're going to make sure that we actually follow through on how this is implemented, and we want to follow best practices across the nation, which we've seen in most cases it is actually not under public safety. So we're going to make sure that we actually follow through here and see how it's administered. And I know the mayor has extended the invitation to the community to have a seat at the table, and we want to make sure that's followed through, so we appreciate that. But we just want to recognize those two things. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I don't see any more miscellaneous, but I'd be remiss if we don't acknowledge Director Laird and all of the streets department and all of the service workers, as well as public utilities, who braved the 0 degrees weather to be out there working. All right, I believe that is all the miscellaneous. Madam Clerk, please excuse the absences.
by Councilmember House Jones that the absence of Councilmember Gray is hereby excused, seconded by Councilmember Davis.
Thank you. This council is adjourned to the call of the chair. The next meeting of council will be on next Monday, February the 9th.